The Raising of Lazarus. While Jesus was in Perea, Lazarus, the brother of Mary and Martha, became very sick. These were the same sisters Jesus had visited earlier. They lived in the town of Bethany, which was near Jerusalem. The sisters sent to him, saying, "Lord, the one whom you love is sick." When he heard this, Jesus said, "This is not a sickness for death, but it is for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified." Now Jesus loved this family, the sisters and Lazarus. Yet when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. After this, he told the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again."
Jesus answered, "There are 12 hours in a day. If a man walks during the day, he won't stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if the man walks at night, he will stumble, because the light is not in him." Then he told them, "Lazarus has fallen asleep. I need to go wake him."
Not understanding him, the disciples said, "Lord, if he's asleep, he will recover." Then Jesus said, more plainly, "Lazarus is dead. I am glad for your sakes that I was not there. This will help you believe. Let us go to him." Thomas, called Didymus, the twin, said to the other disciples, "Let us go also, that we may die with Jesus." When they arrived in Bethany, they found that Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was about 2 miles from Jerusalem. Many Jews had come to comfort Mary and Martha over the death of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary sat in the house. Martha said, "Lord, if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. Yet even now, I know that whatever you ask of God will be given." Jesus said, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection of the last day."
Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes on me shall live even though he dies. Whoever lives and believes on me shall never die. Do you believe this?"
She said, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world." Then she went secretly to her sister Mary and said, "The teacher is here and calls for you." Mary, when she heard it, arose quickly, and she went to Jesus. He was still outside the village where Martha had met him. When the Jews saw Mary jump up and run out, they followed her, thinking she was going to the tomb to weep. When Mary came to where Jesus was, she fell down at his feet, saying, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit. "Where have you buried him?" he asked. They said, "Lord, come and see." Jesus wept. The Jews said, "See how he loved him." Others said, "If he can open the eyes of the blind, couldn't he have kept Lazarus alive?" Groaning in himself, Jesus came to the tomb. It was a cave, with a stone rolled in front of the entrance. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha said, "Lord, he's been dead for 4 days. His body is already decaying. It stinks." Jesus said, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. Jesus lifted up his eyes in prayer.
He said, "Father, thank you for hearing me. I know you hear me always, but I say this so that the people around me will know that you sent me."
Then he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" The dead man, now alive, walked out, still wrapped completely in grave clothes. Even his face was covered. Jesus said to the people, "Turn him loose." Many of the Jews who had come to comfort Mary saw this miracle and believed on Jesus. But some of them went away and told the Pharisees what Jesus had done. Therefore the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together in a council and said, "What shall we do? Jesus does many signs. If we let him alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans will come and take away our place and our nation." Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, neither do you know that one man must die for the people, so that the whole nation will not perish. Just as God used other men to prophesy about the death of Jesus, here he used Caiaphas to prophesy that Jesus should die for the nation, and that not for the nation only, but that he also might gather all his people into one kingdom. From then on, they plotted to put him to death." Therefore Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but departed into the country near the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim. He stayed there with his disciples. As they passed along the border of Samaria and Galilee, they entered into a certain village. 10 men who were lepers stood a distance away and called out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." He called back to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." This was so that the priests could proclaim them healed, and as they went, they were healed. One of the 10, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God. He fell on his face at the feet of Jesus, thanking him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus said, "Were not 10 made clean? Where are the other 9? Why is it that only a stranger returned to give glory to God?" He said to him, "Arise and go your way. Your faith has made you whole."